Sinjuri, nsemmilkom nilqakom għal programmi ieħor ta' Flusek. Illum ser nitkellmu dwar riżultati finanzjarji ta' HSBC Bank Malta PLC u fit-tieni parti tal-programm ser nagħtu ħarsa lejn l-andament ta' swieq finanzjarji lokali u internazzjonali għall-ewwel ġimagħtejn ta' Novembru. Il-mistiedna tagħna huma Geoffrey Fichte, Charlotte Cilia u Jasmine Mizzi. Ser nibdew sabiex nitkellmu fuq ir-riżultati finanzjarji tal-HSBC Bank Malta PLC u nilqgħu l-ewwel żewġ mistiednin tagħna, Geoffrey Fichte li huwa il-Chief Executive Officer tal-HSBC u Charlotte Cilia, Chief Financial Officer HSBC. Welcome to Flusek once again.
Thank you. Thanks for having us again.
I was just informing our viewers that we're going to start by discussing the financial results of HSBC Bank Malta PLC for the first 9 months of 2024. Geoffrey, first question to you. The HSBC Bank Malta has recently announced a profit before tax of 118 million euros for the first 9 months of the year, an increase of 17% when compared to the same period last year. To what do you attribute this increase in profits?
Well, first off, Nicolette, this is a record result for HSBC Bank Malta. This reflects the strength of our business, the large, diverse nature of our customer base. And behind these results, which we're very pleased about, we have an increase in revenues of 19 million euros. And we've seen, growth across all of our business. Retail banking, commercial banking, markets, as well as our insurance, our life insurance and asset management companies. Also, at the same time, we're investing in our business. So we continue to invest in our people, we continue to invest in our technology, as well as ways to launch new products and services. On this same show a few months back, we announced that we'd be replacing all of our ATMs, and we've started that work, and that will continue into next year. We've launched new products for pensions, for investments, so a lot of investment is happening, and we've increased our expense base by 12% in the first 9 months out of the year. And then finally, on the credit side, we've been successful in recovering about 11 million euros in funds for our shareholders because of the improved economic environment, but also for collecting good negotiations and collecting bad debts. So overall, a very successful record set of results for our bank in the first 9 months of the year.
Charlotte, as Geoffrey was mentioning, revenue was up by 11% when compared to the first 9 months of 2023. What specific areas contributed to this increase?
Yes, as Geoffrey mentioned, we had an increase in revenue across all business lines, but we also had an increase in all revenue types. The biggest driver by far is the net interest income, whereby we've seen an increase of 16 million. Despite the fact that the European Central Bank actually announced 2 interest rate cuts in Q3, when you compare the average central bank overnight rate in 2024 to 2023, there was still an increase in the rate of about 80 basis points. Because we have excess liquidity, we earn money from that, placing that excess liquidity. But as I mentioned, we also had an increase in all revenue lines. So we had an increase in our net fee income, our trading income, which is mainly foreign exchange, and also insurance income. And this is mainly coming from increased customer activity. So we've seen increased customer activity in relation to trade finance, but foreign exchange, as I mentioned, but also insurance products such as critical illness and pensions.
And operating costs as well increased by 12% during this period. What are the primary factors behind this rise, and how is the bank balancing investment with cost management?
Yes. I would mention 3 biggest drivers when it comes to increasing costs. So firstly, staff cost, investment in technology, and investment in real estate. If I start with the staff cost, in January we signed a collective agreement, which meant that we offered significant enhancements to the staff pay, benefits, as well as pensions. Also, in January, we started moving to the refurbished head offices. It's a project of over a year, We've already finalized 2 parts of it, and we are eagerly waiting for the last bit to be completed. We wanted to actually offer a better environment for our staff. The last piece, which is not the smallest piece either, is the investment in technology. We've invested in different types of technology. If I just mentioned 2, we actually launched a new mortgage system in Q3, and as Geoffrey mentioned, we started replacing our ATMs. And by next year, we will be replacing all the ATMs that we have across the country.
A question for you, Geoffrey. There was a seasonal decrease in corporate deposits when compared to year-end 2023 figures. However, customer deposits have risen since the third quarter of 2023. Do you have any strategies in place to attract and retain deposits in the evolving market conditions?
You're right, Nicolette. We did have growth in both retail and commercial deposits versus last year. But we had a decrease in the first 9 months of the year in some corporate deposits, which tend to be more volatile and seasonal as well. And it's a very dynamic market. We're still, a very liquid bank, and we, work very close with our customers to meet their needs and, support their deposits and their transactions, their collections, their payments as needed. We see a strength and very good progress in our international customers. We're seeing a lot of activity. And in general, across our customer base, there's been a very good increase in transactions. So that helps increase and maintain our very, large liquid deposit base.
Loans and advances to customers have also decreased slightly since December 2023. Do you see a trend developing here, and is it more reflective of changing customer needs?
Yes, I mean, if you look at the central bank statistics, you will see that the Maltese lending actually increased slightly when you compare the September balances versus December. In our case, we did have a slight decrease. There is no specific trend, but what it meant that despite actually managing to write a significant number of new loans across both the retail and the wholesale banking, the repayments have been slightly higher. While we obviously strive to continue growing, we want to strike the right balance between growth and quality of the credit that we actually give. In fact, we maintain a prudent credit policy to make sure that actually we give sustainable results to our shareholders in the long term. And we can see the success of this policy because we've been reducing our non-performing loans over the years, and the level of defaults that we've seen in terms of our loans have decreased significantly. And as Geoffrey was mentioning, we've been writing back expected credit losses.
What about the liquidity of the bank? What was the liquidity position as at the end of the first 9 months of this year?
Yes. We continue to maintain a very strong liquidity position. Give or take, we have about 3 billion of liquid assets, which we place either in sovereign and supranational bonds or overnight with the central bank. When we talk about technical terms, we normally refer to the liquidity coverage ratio, which is the main metric that we look at when it comes to the liquidity from a regulatory perspective. This metric looks at the level of liquid assets versus the possible outflows over the next 30 years. Just to give you an idea of the liquidity, our liquidity, give or take, is about 5 times the minimum required by the regulation. So it's a very strong liquid position.
Geoffrey, on the 11th of September, HSBC Holdings announced a strategic review of its 70.03% stake in HSBC Bank Malta. Could you share more details on what this review might mean for the bank, for its customers, and for the bank's employees?
Yes, and I'd like to start by talking about the capital markets rules in Malta for listed companies. So HSBC Global owns 70% of the shares in our bank here in Malta, but also we have 10,000 local shareholders who collectively own the other 30%. So HSBC is one of our many shareholders. And as a listed company on the Malta Stock Exchange, like all companies that are listed, we have to strictly follow capital markets rules. And we do that with a commitment to transparency as well. And these rules oblige that all companies listed on the exchange bring useful and relevant facts to the market, to the attention of all shareholders in a timely manner. And they do that through the issuance of company announcements. So I thought that context was important to frame the question. So as soon as we became aware that HSBC, our main shareholder, HSBC Global, was going to start a strategic review, we communicated that to the market. And we did that through the company announcements in a fully transparent manner. And to summarize what's been communicated to the market through these company announcements, it is that HSBC Global has started a process to review, through a strategic review, their 70% stake in the bank here in Malta, that they're considering a full range of options, and that no decisions have been taken as of yet. And we are committed to keep informing the market in a transparent and timely manner any future decisions which could result from that strategic review.
What about your top priorities and challenges for the bank in the coming year, Geoffrey?
Well, in banking, there's always many challenges, especially in this global environment, which is very dynamic. But I think we're very well positioned to face those challenges in this last quarter of the year and into next year. We have a very strong team, an independent board of directors, and we're focused on delivering quality earnings to all of our shareholders. So we're continuing with the same strategy, and we continue to work every day to support our customers. And as Charlotte mentioned, we had a very strong set of third quarter results where we're investing in our business, we're helping our customers grow, we're sharing that success with our shareholders. So we believe, this third quarter result is a real testament to that our strategy is working.
Geoffrey, Charlotte, thank you for being with us today, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Ser namlu waqfa qasira ta' ftit minuti għal riklami, ibqgħu magħna.